Hey guys, my name is Micaiah. I'm 24 years old and I'm a speech language pathologist. I'm just kidding. Hey guys, my name is Micaiah. I'm 24 years old and I'm a speech language pathologist. I'm just kidding. I just wanted to hear how that sounded. But I'm going to school to be a speech language pathologist. Now, if you don't know what that is, don't panic. I don't really expect many people to, because I didn't know what it was. A speech language pathologist is just a speech therapist. They work with people who have trouble communicating, swallowing disorders, communication disorders, speech and language issues, things like that. So, for example, if you have trouble producing the R sound, you would most likely work with a speech language pathologist. Get it? Got it? Good. So, initially in undergrad, I was going to school to be a pharmacist. Now, honestly, I knew a long time ago that pharmacy was not something that I wanted to truly pursue. I knew that I wanted to work in the healthcare field, but when you're young and you're in high school and you're going through the motions, a lot of times you just want to pick something before it's time to go to college, if you're under that kind of pressure. And at the time I was. I didn't know what I wanted to do. By that point, I didn't change my career goals several times. So I chose pharmacy because I knew that I wanted to work in the healthcare field. Excuse me. But I also knew that I didn't want to work with blood or see anything gruesome or anything like that. I knew I wanted to work in the medical field, but I wanted to stay clean. And I wanted to go where the money resided. So I chose pharmacy. Now, at the time, I didn't really take into consideration the amount of chemistries I'd have to take in college or sciences. But I chose to major in biology because I knew that that would be a good foundation in case I wanted to go to medical school. So I chose pharmacy. And anytime someone would ask me, oh, what do you want to be, or what do you want to do, or what are you going to school for? I say pharmacy. But I didn't feel that. I wasn't passionate about it. I was just saying something. And I knew that every time I said it. So going through undergrad, not gonna lie, I was not focused. Freshman, sophomore year, even summer junior year, I was just not focused. My mind was somewhere else. Don't judge. Some of y'all did the same thing. But along the way, I finally got my stuff together and I started taking classes a little bit more seriously. Because growing up, I always heard C's got degrees. Somebody lied, because if you get all C's, you ain't getting no degree. If you get all C's across the board, you getting academic suspension is what you getting. But nobody preached that to me growing up. Truth be told, I was just excited to be living out on my own and grown. I was just excited to be free. But yeah, so undergrad, I pursued biology, and around that time, it was time to get to the nitty-gritty. I knew soon I would have to start applying to pharmacy schools. I got a job at Walgreens and got a little bit of experience working in the pharmacy. And right then I knew I hated it. I knew I could not do that long term. It was just dry. It was cold. I feel like my personality was suppressed because I'm sociable. I feel like I'm personable. I'm bubbly, always smiling. In the pharmacy, it's cold. People seemed kind of just unpleasant. No, that was retail pharmacy, and I'm aware that all pharmacies are not the same, but I think I got a good taste to know that I did not want to do that long term. But like I said, I knew that anyways. So I knew that I had to think of something quick because it was time to start applying for schools. And I knew that with my GPA at the time, Campbell was not taking me. No pharmacy school was taking me. I had a 3.0, And I just knew, I mean, it's not a terrible GPA. It's not a bad GPA, but it's also not competitive. I mean, let's be honest, especially if your backup plan is medical school. I didn't want to be a biology teacher, and I didn't want to do work in a science lab. So there's that. But around the time of COVID, I lost my voice for 2 months. Okay, that's an exaggeration. Kinda, not quite. I lost my voice for nearly 2 months. That's because I had a bad kidney infection and a kidney stone that got pretty bad. It was one of the worst pains I've ever experienced in my entire life. It was hurting me in my lower back. I had to be hospitalized. And going through that point, I had to have a minor surgical procedure, which caused them to have to put in a breathing tube. That breathing tube scraped my left vocal cord. Now, at this time, we were in quarantine, we were in isolation, the pandemic had just happened. Imagine not having a voice and having to wear a mask on top of that. I had no voice. I was a server at the time. I could not work. I was lonely. We were isolated. It was seriously one of the most depressing points of my life. But yeah, it was one of the most depressing points of my life, and I had no idea if I would ever gain my voice back. Like, can you imagine? We truly do not appreciate something until it's gone. Like, you don't understand the value of being able to vocalize and express your feelings like that until you don't have that ability anymore. So I was stressed, and I'm gonna insert a picture of my visit to the ENT when I finally got a referral, so you guys can see literally on my face that I was going through it. But I got the opportunity to look at my vocal folds, and I remember the lady, she told me to make a sound, and I got to see it on the screen. She put some kind of probe in my mouth, and I was able to just observe the vocal folds. Well, one was moving, the other one was staying still. And I don't know, it was just an amazing thing to witness. Like, I thought it was cool. But anyways, I asked the lady, I said, what's your profession? What do you do? And she was like, I'm a speech language pathologist. I said, what? I said, just like that. I said, what? I said, you what now? She said, I'm a speech language pathologist. Now, don't get me wrong. This lady, she was not the most pleasant. She was not the most pleasant. It was not this lady who was like, oh my gosh, I want to be her. She's brilliant. She was nice. She was cool. She gave me some vocal exercises, and she sent me on my merry way. She was cool, but she did plant that seed. She did introduce me to the field of speech language pathology. So after that, I took my voiceless self home and I did some research. And that's when I started going on YouTube and checking out books and looking through the internet. Now, I will say, the main reason I'm creating this YouTube channel is because when I was doing that research, I didn't see a lot of Black women pursuing the field. I didn't see a lot of Black women on YouTube sharing their experiences. Now, I did find one YouTuber who had an experience very similar to mine, and you can check her out. Her name is Beninin, and she is kind of what pushed me. She kind of planted that seed also to create a YouTube channel of my own, because I had no help. I could not find many girls at all, but I found her, and she actually inspired me to move forward pursuing it, just because our experiences were so relatable as far as college-wise and just not knowing what we wanted to do as biology majors. So with that being said, I did my research, and I did see I've seen some Black women pursuing it, but I looked at these women and I was like, wow, how did I not know about this career field? Like, how did I not know? How did I not know? How have I missed this my entire life? I said, I feel like my personality would be perfect for this. I have an abundance of patience. Trust me. I'm a behavior technician. I have an abundance of patience. Okay. And I'm also a waitress. So with that being said, I'm very patient, very personable, very bubbly. Like I said before, this career field, that's what I want to do. I said that's me. That's going to be me. That's what I want to do. And right then, I made that decision. I said, I'm going to take my biology degree and I'm going to pursue speech language pathology. Now, I didn't know how I was going to pursue speech language pathology. I mean, by that point, I went ahead and I signed up for an intro class for the following semester. But by that time, I was about to graduate. I mean, what was I going to do? I didn't complete a whole 4-year degree pursuing biology. I wasted a lot of time, if you ask me. I wasted a lot of time, but I had to go through those experiences so I can get where I am today. After I took that intro class, I built a lot of rapport with my professor, and she asked me, or she encouraged me to apply for the provisional program at our college. And what that was a program that enabled you to take 1 year of the prerequisite courses for speech so that you can just go into the following semester of grad school. How cool is that? How cool is that? So she was saying this and she was just telling me this is what you can do. And I was looking at some other colleges that offer similar post-bac classes or post-bac opportunities. And I was just doing research, but at the time, I also didn't know if I wanted to jump right back into college. I was like, maybe I want to take a break. I'm going to move back home with my parents. I'm going to save some money. I didn't think I was going to apply, at least not anytime soon. But I graduated. I went home with my parents. And I remember one day, now mind you, I didn't know how I was going to pay for it. I've exhausted all of the money that I've been offered in undergrad. I was like, there's no way they're going to give me any more money. But when there is a will and there's a way, and when you're working within God's will or walking within God's will, anything is possible. And he made it possible. I didn't know how I was going to afford it. I didn't know where I was going to live. I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't think I was going to get accepted because I had a 3.0 GPA, and written was a 3.5 GPA was required to be considered competitive. But I applied to the program just all willy-nilly. I said, I'm gonna take my little $100. I'm just gonna apply. What's the worst that can happen? I know what's gonna happen if I don't apply. I'm not gonna get accepted. Come on. I mean, what's there to lose? I'm not doing anything else. I'm working. I'm going home, working, going home. I might as well apply to grad school. So I did it. I applied to grad school. I remember getting an interview. After I submitted an application. I got an interview, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I was just like this. I got an interview to grad school. Yeah, I did. And I was so nervous. Oh my gosh, my heart is beating now just thinking about it. I got an interview to grad school, and I remember just feeling like shocked. What? What? I remember being shocked. And on the day of the interview, I was rushing from work. After I was about to get off, my interview time was starting. And I remember rushing home, and I didn't even have my scrubs all the way off. I put my blazer and a blouse and my blazer over my scrubs or something like that, or I was still wearing scrub pants. I can't remember exactly, but I knew that I threw something on and hurried and did a little something with my hair, threw a little lip gloss on, and it was a virtual interview. And I opened up that laptop and I saw, y'all, full circle moment. What do you know? It's the professor who asked me to apply to, or told me I should apply to grad school. It was her. She was the one who was interviewing me along with another lady. I mean, God just works in mysterious ways. Like, I knew she was over the whole thing, but I don't know. Like, you guys, this is why it is just so important to make those connections with your professors in undergrad, because you never know who you're going to need along the way, and you never know what that connection can do for you in the long run. So I highly recommend be in those office hours, you know, build those relationships. You never know where it can get you. So yeah, and I remember doing the interview, and I felt confident about it. I knew I rehearsed, I practiced, and I was comfortable. Next thing you know, I got accepted. Into the provisional program and basically accepted into grad school. And yeah, and now here I am. So if you're watching this, hey y'all. Welcome to my channel. I hope through my stories today that I could have inspired somebody to just, if not pursue speech language pathology, just take that leap of faith, because it can be the difference between you sitting at home at your parents' house working, becoming complacent, or you moving and going to grad school, starting your life, starting your future, starting your career. So thank you for joining my TED Talk for today. That's all that I have. I will be posting more videos about my journey to becoming a speech language pathologist. I start grad school this fall, and I'm super excited about it. And I'm really just looking forward to see what God has in store for me. I know it's gonna be good. So yeah, stay tuned to see my journey. I will be posting videos about tips and tricks and things of that nature, challenges that I encountered in my journey. Yeah, if you haven't already, like, share, and subscribe, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Thanks.
Don't play with it, don't be dishonest.